Okay, I'm here at Williamsport and I'm going to ride the towpath. C&O. So, parked down here by the boat ramp. So I'm riding up to the towpath now. My plan is to ride east, maybe to Dam 4. I'll see what the towpath surface looks like. Still some ice on the canal, a little bit left. And by the sounds of it, I've got a little bit of ice left in my cup. A little noisy. Okay. If you're familiar with Williamsport, this is one of the parking lots, and this puts you closest to the Lockhouse 44, just up from mile marker 99. It's about a half a mile away from the aqueduct up in Williamsport, the Conococheague aqueduct. But this is one of those locks, and it's got a bypass lock too. Mile marker 99, and it also represents the most eastern part of this part of the watered canal. It's actually in use. Towpath is in really good condition. Just a few short 8 to 10 foot puddle areas. It's drying up, but it's in wonderful shape. Several people out and about. Of course, they're close enough to the parking lots, they don't have to walk too far to get to here.
The minute there we go.
So right now it's in great shape. It's dry. I would expect it to stay that way for some time, until the next rain. This is the Interstate 81 bridge, goes north and south. As I get further away from Williamsport, it should become less populated. '98 marker. About a mile and a half to 2 miles outside of Williamsport now. So a lot of the walkers have already dwindled down. So mile 99 going this direction east, and I'm thinking, if I remember right, it's about mile 90 or 89. This is not a resurfaced area. It's been sort of upgraded by the Park Service, or maybe by a mini contract, but it's still like a 2-track, and it can get muddy if you get a lot of rain on it. So how fast am I going? What do you think? About 10 miles an hour, up to about 11. The surface isn't all completely dry, but most of it is. I'd say 95%, 98%. Once in a while you'll get into some very short wet areas, but I don't see any tire marks that are digging in. They're leaving an imprint or a footprint, tire print, but nothing that's digging in. That's a big one there, marked to come down. That's 95.5 area. It's got some wet spots. And it's almost, we're almost to the campsite. Not that I'm camping today, but to give you an orientation. See, there's more gravel mixed here, so it's drier. And then when you don't have them, it's a little bit soft, but not really great impact. You can tell the difference between where the vehicle tread went and regular bicycle tires. They'll dry up in no time. Yep, 95 mile marker. Still going east. It's another landmark here. This is one of the crossings during the Civil War. Falling Waters, right over there, across the river. Coming up to the Potomac Sports Club area, privately owned. The Sports Club has a pavilion, so if you had to escape out of the weather, I'm sure they wouldn't mind using it for a while. Okay. '93 marker now. That was a long distance between 94 and 93, it seemed. But I was going a lot slower through that club area. Alright, so this is Lock 43 at Lock House. It's pretty cool that they're still standing. That's the only snow I've seen so far over there at the foot of that bank. Right along the river. No, there's the midpoint right there. Okay. 92. If you're not aware, the towpath length is 184.5 miles approximately. Mile 0 in DC Foggy Bottom area to Cumberland. Or is the 84.5 measured from the Rock Creek Trail intersection of the end of the towpath? That I'm not sure. If you know, make a post. It's been quite a while since I've hit a wet area. So I should be coming up to about 3 miles. Yeah, 3 miles to big Slackwater area. Of course, this in itself might still be considered big Slackwater. I'm not sure. I don't know where the official end is. The current doesn't seem to be too swift at all. Maybe it's all the big Slackwater here, but definitely downstream more. I'm still averaging about 9 to 10, 11 miles an hour. Just as I'm slowing it down to take some sights in. But it is a little gravelly, a little bit rough. Not bad though. Good surface. As I roll on the towpath, I often think of the flood levels. Like down here a little bit, 10 feet would begin to flood on the towpath. But years and years ago, 44, 45 feet, I think that was kind of like the record. 44, 45 feet was a record flood level. Man, I couldn't imagine. I've seen it in the 30s. Man, I thought that was high. Very nice out here. Saturday, February the 28th, the last day of February. And tonight, 6 of the planets will be visible. About a half hour after sundown starting. And coming up to another campsite. This one is right along the towpath. It's not very deep, but it's a nice one. I don't know whether the pump is working during the season. You'd have to check the matrix checklist. Pekin Junction. Nice view from here. Very nice. You're sitting right in the sun right now. This is a very nice area. Quiet. This is the best direction to be in during the evening like this, with the sun going down behind my back. Of course, the orientation changes just as the river snakes around, and the towpath follows the river. Not much further until we get to the opened area where they reconstructed about 3 years ago. That's a big tree. Mile 90. We're going about a little over 9 miles. Once in a while you'll see tire tracks, and that's either porta potty service truck or operations trucks removing trees or branches across the trail, or it could be the contract to remove trees that's going on now. But they're leaving a minimal footprint, tire print. Another month, about 6 weeks, start seeing leaves coming on, buds budding out. By April, we'll have this same view with leaves on the trees. You can see the buildings up there, but this is 89.1 on the map, and this is what they use as a flood route for anybody who's going through still when the river would be up. So 89 roughly is the marker. So once you get down here further, about 10 to 10.5 feet, water starts to puddle on parts of the towpath. It used to be a lot lower, but they reconstructed it, raised it up, redid the river wall, and this is 89 right here. But there's a low spot down just below the 88 marker. We'll see that. And that, once you get about 10.5 to 11 feet, you're getting about a foot of water you'd have to puddle through. You get above 12 feet or so, you're going to be hitting some really deep spots further on down. So anyways, 89 area right now. Lock 42, and I think it was 43 back there. This area has lock 41 here and lock 42 back there. See how wide it is? Very nice through here. A lot different from before they reconstructed the wall. Took out the trees. Right through here is one of the several areas that would flood, the lowest levels. You can see the river wall that they rebuilt, I think. Let's see, we'll zoom in. Very nice. Windy, very windy out here. You see in the distance, the concrete raised path, the red McMahon's mill building will be up here on the left. And you have to watch on the left, there's a drop off without any type of guardrails. A lot of people park up here and make this a very nice area to start or stop a ride. The sun's directly in front of me, but get the best picture I can. So what, about 3 or 4 years ago, this was the route you had to take to get around the construction area, what I just went through, because the construction was up in the parking lot, all the equipment. So let's keep going a little further and then I'll turn back. Big Slackwater, milepost 88.1 on the map. Watch the drop-offs over here. I'm going to go towards Shepherdstown just for a ways. Probably down to the dam 4, 84.6. And this is mile marker 88. And right here, till you get to the concrete section, about 100 yards up, this becomes in a low section, and it will be the first to flood. So at 11 feet, it's about a foot deep there, while everything else down here would be still above water, except one area way down there would also start to be flooding. So 10.5 feet, you want to watch. 11 feet or more, you want to consider what you want to do. This is 10 miles per hour. About 1.5 miles long, with about 8 or 9 intermittent dirt trail sections. Don't drop anything in the water, you won't be getting it back unless you go swimming. That was probably the highest point on this concrete section. About 14 feet flood level. It varies about 12 to 14 feet on the concrete section. And there's about like 9 of the concrete sections. Hey, you've got some snow. First I've actually seen right along the towpath today. Some time ago, this was a rock slide, and they cleaned it up. Mile 87. Here's a few sleet piles remaining here. Whoa. Right at the end of it. Last section. This is the resurfaced section here. But it's also the section they had to scrape 2 or 3 inches of mud, silt, off of after the last flood. Usually after each flood. But it takes them a while. So if this is flooded and receded, you'll want to wait. But I don't see anything happening anytime in the near future at all. So it's all a go. Go, go, go. You can see that. That's a beautiful surface there. Look at that. you would have this surface all the way to about mile 22, if I'm not mistaken. There are a few patch areas after the various floods, but all in all, about 98%, 99% would be all resurfaced like this. That's from 86.5 going east. The big Slackwater boat ramp will be up here about another half a mile, and then the dam at 84.6, and that's as far as I'm going today. Then I'm going to turn back. It's been a very good ride. Very good. And the weather is perfect. About 65 degrees out, I think. Mile 86. If you have a sun visor, it'd be nice to wear it. But I'm able to shield my eyes a little bit. Of course, my glasses are prescription, and they're automatic shaded. But you want a visor or something about this time of day. And I'm heading basically east, but I'm into the sun though, because the way the river swings around. If you look at a map sometime, take a look at the way the river just snakes around. A lot of S-bends. So that reorients the sun, the direction that you're looking into. Historically, this section right here, 86 point probably 1 or 2, it can get very muddy after a flood. That's the whole section actually, but especially this section. So if the river gets about 16 to 17 feet, it'll be hitting the towpath right here through this area. There's a little detour around there if this would ever be too muddy in this section. But the whole section will be muddy if that's muddy. Inlet Lock 4, where the river comes in. It's where they let water in, or used to let water into the canal there, Inlet 4. Harpers Ferry has another one way down there at about mile 61. Big parking lot and a nice picnic area. Boat ramp is over there. They have a little dock, I think, for you to fish from, or to unload yourself in a kayak or something. I don't boat. I haven't boated for several years. Even then it was just a canoe and a rowboat. I just have more fun being on the bike. My brother used to do a lot of canoeing, boating. He'd camp some of the islands on the river in the summer. Yeah. See that surface? Beautiful surface. Beautiful surface. Right, watch the traffic because they get pretty heavy, especially on nice days. Okay, the next landmark will be up here. Less than a mile will be Dam 4. And if you're not familiar with Dam 4, watch your kids, especially around it, because there are no guardrails. And it's quite a drop-off. From Dam 4, 84.6, your next area that would be directly, pretty much, you'd be going through. Of course, you go through Sharpsburg at 76.5, but that's about a mile and a half of climb up into town. That's 76.5. And then about 73, 72 something would be your exit, the switch back up to Shepherdstown. And that's about a mile or so ride over to town. But I won't go into all that because there's a down, like the old historic section, and then there's the business fast food section left or right through Shepherdstown. So, and that's the Shepherd University area. So, all right, so I'm getting off track here. This is the towpath coming up to about 84.6 soon. I haven't really been bike touring for all that long, since about maybe 2015. And 2016 I was starting to really kind of get into it better with better gear and lighter gear. Some 2018, 2019. But I remember these sections like this, what they were before they were resurfaced. And you were traveling a lot slower, or I was traveling a lot slower, about 5 to 6, 7 miles an hour, and avoiding tree roots, ruts. Yeah, just a surface like the towpath was, I guess. And again, once again, I get off track here. So back to the ride. By looking at some of these sections of the towpath, you really couldn't tell where or what section you were on. They all look a lot the same, especially this time of year with no leaves. Because you have the canal one side, the river on the other. Once in a while you can tell where you're at based on landmarks, what's on the shoreline. With this, we're coming up to Dam 4. And it's Dam 4. Show it to you in a minute. Let's take a look over here. Sweep over here. Hey there, sitting for a break. Rode from Williamsport to Dam 4. And I'm sitting, taking a break. I'm gonna head on back. Good ride out today. It's like 65 degrees or better. I'd have to look again. But man, it's a nice day. The surface wasn't bad. I did run into some soft spots like others that I've seen with seeing the tire tracks, but they weren't really digging in. So I would say 98% was definitely dry, and it's a go. So yeah, sitting here taking a short break. Got a Milky Way bar chewing on, and then I'm gonna head on back. That's what the view was like from where I was sitting. I'll walk over here in a minute. I've seen it hundreds of times, but it's nice every time I'm here. Just do a complete 360. So yeah, this time it came from Williamsport, from that direction. Just out for a day ride, a few hours. Very nice though. Parking lot over there be the closest one if you're coming back this way. And here's the aqueduct. Kind of a jig. Just go down here, turn around. Okay. Okay. And that's it. Rail. Side of the rail. There you go. Very good. Another good ride. Those rails are slippery. So you gotta be careful. And to the right. Bunch of speed bumps. And I'm back.